Hi everyone, Landry Etheridge here with Etheridge Counseling Group, joined today by Claire Johnson, a therapist here in Charleston, South Carolina, here to talk to us about narcissism, narcissistic abuse, the cycle of abuse, and the psychological toll of being in a relationship with a narcissist. The relationship, whether it's dating or married, or it's a parent or a coworker or a boss, whatever that relationship is, kind of what is identifying what is that toll that it takes on a person. So Claire, thanks so much for joining us and talking to us about this. When you are thinking about a client maybe in a relationship with a narcissist, what are some of the things that come up for you when you're thinking about how to help this person decide whether to stay or to go? What are some of the things that need to be considered?
Yeah, so an important question to ask would be, do you feel safe? That's the number one consideration, both emotionally and physically. Um, if you don't feel safe, it's probably time to consider getting out. Do you see potential for growth and change in the other person? Could you imagine them, working to improve themselves in the relationship? Um, how much impact is it having on your life? Is it, impacting your relationships with others? Are you starting to feel isolated? Is the emotional toll impacting how you see yourself, how you show up at work? How damaging is this relationship to you? Or is it something that you could see getting better over time with work on it?
Mm-hmm.
And then also, do you feel like you have the tools to engage in this relationship? It does take a lot to keep yourself regulated and enforce boundaries. So do you feel like you have the right tools and support to engage?
Yes. And speaking of tools, I'm going to put a link in the comment section below with a link to another video Claire has done about the tools that you would need to engage with a narcissist. So that's going to be a good resource to use. So Claire, what's some of the toll that you see taken on clients maybe who are in a narcissistic relationship?
Definitely emotional exhaustion and burnout. It can be very tiring to go through the cycle of abuse and the highs and the lows that often accompany this type of relationship. So, that's definitely something I see. Also, someone who starts to become isolated from their friends and family and lose support from those outside of the relationship. That's something that commonly happens.
Mm.
And then going along with the gaslighting that we talked about before, starting to question your perception of the world, question yourself, question can you trust yourself anymore? Those things start to creep in. So those are three of the biggest things that I see.
Yeah. So why do you feel like isolation is such a dangerous thing?
Yeah, having our support systems is so crucial, for everyone, not just someone in a relationship with a narcissist. So being cut off from the people that support you and love you makes you really vulnerable to abuse, makes it harder to get out of the relationship. And then it also just really impacts your mental health. So not having the social support you need is a leading cause of depression and anxiety, and um,
So it can really
just
trigger
makes you
a
feel real
whole lot
alone.
of other issues.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Is that where sort of the word that concept of trauma bonding comes in, or can you explain to us what a trauma bond is?
Yeah, absolutely. It's an intense emotional connection that you have with someone who has caused you harm or abused you in some way. And it really ties into that cycle of abuse where you kind of get addicted to that feeling, the time in the cycle where they make you feel special and loved. And it's a toxic relationship, but it's so hard to extract yourself because of the connection that you form with someone going through these intense cycles. So it can be really hard to break that bond once you're in it. You become very attached to that person, even though it's unhealthy.
Mm. Why is it so important to recognize the psychological toll of being in a relationship with a narcissist?
Yeah, but because of that, of how, damaging that cycle is, being able to recognize some of those signs before you really get sucked into the cycle, is so important to be able to protect yourself or to even recognize it and maybe someone in your life is engaging in these type of this
Mm-hmm.
relationship. To be able to point out those signs to them and get out before you're in too deep. And then also be able to educate yourself if you're already in the relationship of how to manage the relationship dynamics, how to keep yourself safe, and how to leave if that is something that you want to do. So it's kind of like knowledge is power, and being able to recognize it can really keep you safe.
Yes, couldn't agree more. Knowledge is power. Thank you so much for chatting with us about this topic, the psychological toll of being in a relationship with a narcissist. I think so many of us have, now that narcissism is like really so much on the forefront of people's minds, just through social media and TikTok and Instagram Reels. And I feel like so many people are talking about it. It can, I feel like the waters have been muddied a little bit and we've kind of lost touch of like what is narcissism actually. It's not
Mhm.
just selfishness or egocentric person, but there's an actual some real patterns and criteria here. I think yeah, so
Mhm.
crucial to kind of educate ourselves and figure out what is this and how can I recognize it to keep myself safe and people in my life safe. So thank you so much for writing this 5-part series and recording these educational videos. I think it's so helpful to have a resource like you, somebody who really knows what they're talking about here. And for anybody listening who's maybe in the Charleston area and is looking for a therapist who is knowledgeable in this area, please reach out to us at Etheridge Counseling, LandryEtheridge.com. And you can find some of these resources and also get started with a therapist. So thank you again, Claire, so much for your time and talking to us today.
Yeah, thank you so much.